next up, we have Ashley Williams. She is the CEO and founder of RIZZARR. She's a serial entrepreneur, global keynote speaker, author, and host. And RIZZARR is an AI-enabled B2B content as a service platform and marketplace that connects brands with vetted creators who produce high-quality, authentic, and purpose-driven content using data science. In addition to this work, Ashley moderates or speaks at gatherings around the world, so we're very lucky that she's here in Detroit. And let's put our hands together for Ashley.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Thank you all so much for the opportunity to speak with you. Today, I'm really excited to talk to you about the ripple effect of you. And I know this conference, or this event today, I should say, is really focusing on the equity gap, but I also want to keep in mind the fact that each of us has an opportunity, whatever gender that we are, to play a role in how we change and shape the world. So as she said, I am an entrepreneur. I was a broadcast journalist for a number of years before going into entrepreneurship, and that is a picture of my company, RIZZARR's platform. And over this course of time, I really started to understand more around the idea, the concept of how one person could really shape and create change in the world. Not only from my own experiences with interns that I would mentor other people, but truly from the people who I'm humbled to say were mentors to me or either shaped my life in different ways. And also through other opportunities that I had, for example, with Culture Capital, where I participated in a documentary series with Comcast, which was a really breathtaking opportunity for me to be around so many other entrepreneurs across the country who were really showcasing to me, it doesn't matter your gender, your color, any things about your background. If there is something that you want to do in the world, you can create change in doing so. I highly recommend checking that out too. It was really fun. And with that, it brought me to an awareness of how each of us has this trajectory, if you will, of how we can go about our lives. You know, it's not necessarily the beginning or the ending, or I should say in that sense, but what we do in the middle of the time that we have here on this earth. So I want to ask you just to take a moment to reflect on this idea of who did you come here to be in this world? And how would the world be different from who you decided to be if things were to change in your life? And believing that you could truly make an impact with your life. Because you see, when I look at so many different people, even Tansley, for example, just hearing about her story, or Samantha, their stories, it's helped me to come to the term of understanding the fact that it does not matter anything related to your circumstances or your background. You can change and be anything that you wish to be. Just look at some of the people here. Some of my favorites are like Sarah Blakely, for example. But so many of them came from so many different backgrounds, but yet they believed in the trajectory of their lives and that it didn't matter if they were underestimated or their circumstances, they could change the world, and they wanted to make the world a better place from how they've seen it. So we need you, and I want to ask you, what is stopping you? If you were really to just sit with yourself right now and just to ask you, what are things that you are allowing to stop you? Now, granted, I understand that we all have different things that we encounter each and every day along our path and circumstances and things around that nature. But the reason why I wanted to show you all those individuals is to help you understand that so many of them, even from today's world with all the technology advances that we've had, many of them were not having access to any of those things. They came from impoverished backgrounds. They didn't have mentors. They didn't have any of these resources that we have access to today. Yet they did not let that define them or to stop them. They were determined, they had tunnel vision, and they kept moving forward. One of my favorite passages, if you will, is from a book called A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson, where it really speaks about this idea of understanding what is stopping us. Many times I could say along my journey, it has been fear, it has been not necessarily having all the resources that I needed to keep moving forward, but I kept trying because I really believed that my impact could still continue and I can move forward. And that I want to share with you today, your impact is actually very impactful and very powerful. I'm going to read a passage, or just a little bit of this. So she says in this passage, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is not our light, nor our darkness that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be talented, or to be gorgeous, talented, or fabulous? I'm sorry, I'm trying to read it off the screen here. Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in every one of us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. And we're liberated from our fear. Our presence automatically liberates others. And this, to me, truly encompasses this idea of the ripple effect, of letting not equity barriers or different things that are happening in our society today to stop us or to shape us into believing that we have to dim ourselves or dim what it is that we want to do in the world. So when I think about the ripple effect, one of the reasons why I was so fascinated about this concept is one day while I was a journalist and still pursuing my career as a reporter, I came across this pond, if you will, this little pond that had showcased ripples in water after something dropped in it. And it really made me think about this idea of how each of us can really build out this ripple to create waves in the world. And I really want you to ponder this idea of how many people have come into your life to create a wave in your life, not just a ripple, but something so much more magnificent. How are you doing that every single day with the people that you encounter, that you come across? And to know that there's still so much ahead of you for you to be able to do this even now. And whether it's with equity gender gaps or in technology or whatever else that you're encountering in your plethora of the world, there is still a way for you to create change in it if you believe you can. So today I want to talk to you about different ways of how I have found little gems that I've come across my path of courageously bringing forth the ripple effect of you. My first lesson that I've realized is you will become as you believe. Just as Theodore Roosevelt said, believe you can and you're halfway there. I have found that it is truly the mindset that really shapes how we move forward in the world and what we believe is possible, how we get rid of these ideas of impossibilities to actually it being I'm possible, which really is what that word really means. So that lesson to me has really, really stuck with me throughout my journey. Number 2 is to trust your gut, and always, again, trust your gut. There are going to be many people or many things within our society that are going to tell you, why even try? Why do it? Or who do you think you are? Or just sit down and it's always been this way. But if you have this idea, this notion of whatever it is that you want to change, I want to challenge you to move forward in that unapologetically, to have such an intuition, such a faith in that. And just to know that if this is something that has come to you, it is for you to move forward in that vision on. A lot of people will project their ideas of how they think the world should be based off of their own experiences. But the reason that we are all here is because we are all truly human beings. We are beings living in this world, trying to do things in the world to change it, to leave it better than we found it. And that's why it's so important, again, to trust your gut and how you feel about something. Number 3 is you will have to fight the lonely feelings and the sadness at times. And I think they've referenced this where, going after something does not always mean you're going to have a crowd behind you. There have been so many times along my journey where I've had to stand on my own, believing in what I believe to be true about what it is I wanted to create in the world, and just to continue on that path. And I've always found that when I did, the right people would show up at the right time. And it also helped me to build an inner trust within myself, an inner trust in knowing that things are possible, even in the moments where it doesn't feel that way. Number 4, you will fail often. It's normal, embrace it, keep going. I kind of feel like life to me has become this kind of experiment, if you will, where there are some things that we find that work, some things that don't work. But through each and every experience, it's another gem that you can take, another lesson that you know now that you can take along your journey. And maybe it's through that lesson you can then share that with another person who is a mentee to you, or a person who is your sibling or a family member or other person that you come across, knowing that you can shape their life from your own experiences. And again, I want to just lighten on the fact of not projecting, because I believe that each of us has something that we are here to do in this world, and it may not be that one person does it, but the other person does. And I think over time I realized many people like to project, or don't even know that they're projecting actually. And so just be mindful of that, and to know that with your lessons, allow other people to also learn theirs, but to share that wisdom with them at the same time. And number 5, perseverance is critical. If there are things that we really want to change in the society, particularly with equity gaps, it is so important to realize that each little inch that we make along the way is still impactful. It doesn't matter if it's even a centimeter, it's still impactful. Everything can take time at times, but it doesn't mean that it's not impossible. So it's just important to know that regardless of whatever it is that you want to do or the change that we want to make, we have to believe that it actually can come to pass. And everything you imagine, you can do. I really believe this idea that Albert Einstein said that the imagination is like truly the vision towards the world that we want to see. And when I think about even this chair or this microphone, everything came from some idea that someone had within their mind of what was possible. And they just had to have the fortitude, the belief in themselves, the perseverance to move forward and bringing that into the world. So just know, if you can believe it here, it definitely can come out into here. Number 7, you have to be focused, and balanced, or you may go off track. So it is hard sometimes when we look at everything that's going on in the world. It's funny because, I mean, I worked in the news and now half the time I don't even want to watch the news. But even with all that being the case, I realize that I don't necessarily need to let all the noise of what's happening in the world stop me and what is the world is that I want to create, the vision that I have for my life or the world that I want to see. And so amidst all these other things that might be happening, I think it's really important for us to know, what is your tunnel vision? What is your North Star? Keep moving in that vein. And whether you're creating change in your culture at your company, whether you're creating change in the generations that are coming after you, keep being focused on what it is that you want to do and move forward in that. And of course, being balanced at the same time, because it's so important in that mindset too, with mental health and everything in between. Number 8, think for yourself and stay in your own lane. You never have to settle nor explain why. But one of the things I realized is that everybody might have different ideas around how the world should be, what their thoughts are and ideologies and things around that nature. But again, it comes down to, what is it that you are called to do, that you feel compelled to do, the change that you want to make? You don't have to allow other people's expectations or where they are in life to subside where it is that you want to go. And so one thing that I've come to realize is when someone tells me no, it doesn't mean I can't do it. It simply means that I can't do it with them. Thank you. Lesson 9 is patience, persistence, and consistency are everything, because great things do take time. I mean, just look at how AI has shaped our world even more recently. This wasn't just something that happened overnight. This is something that has happened within 20 years in the making. I remember when I was at USA Today and BuzzFeed had already created machine learning technology that we were using to predict if content were going to go viral. And it helped me to realize, yes, it does mean that we're gonna have to be patient at times. We might wanna just throw our heads at the wall sometimes or just wanna give up. But if you look at most people who have changed the world, they had all these different lessons and things that intertwine into the overnight success, if you will, that came. So just keep moving forward. And number 10, realize you have everything in you needed to make your dream a reality, to make change in equity, the equity gender gap a reality. And being a woman of color, being a woman in tech is definitely an interesting sphere, I have to say. It's not something that I really ever thought that I would even go into, to be quite honest with you. My North Star for a while was journalism. And when I got started in journalism, I was also, I guess, an anomaly, if you will. I was always usually the youngest person in the newsroom. I was also one of the only women of color in the newsroom and one of the only women in the newsroom. Very interesting dynamic. So it's something that I felt like I've always dealt with in different senses, but even knowing this and seeing the stats or seeing those around me, I never let that stop me from creating the vision that I wanted for my life. And even now, as we have investors and we're continuing to fundraise with the company, I know the stats, I know, but I'm like, what is it that I have in my heart that I want to create in the world? What is the vision that I have? And I feel that way with the equity gender gap too. It does not matter, because I feel like the more of us who step into these roles or who support those who are stepping into those roles, the more that it's going to create change and create more footprints for other people to go and move forward in. The question is which ones of us are going to have the willingness to actually step forward in creating that change, to be that supporter, to be that mentor, to say, I'm gonna give you a shot. And for all of those who gave me a shot, I feel as though I have everything within me to continue to keep moving forward, because I owe that to them to do so. And again, if you can take it, you can make it. And that's what I realized too, because sometimes it does get hard. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a Rocky movie, but at the same time, I still continue to punch. And I know that I can never give up. And the bonus thing I want to say is that you are your own superhero. Every time you wake up in the morning and you look in that mirror, I want you to say, yes, I like being you. Because you are what we need, every single one of you. Every single one of you. I know it can be so easy for me to say this, but I hope from this speech and everything that I said that you take away the fact that you have it in you, I'm about to cry, to make an impact. Sorry. You have it in you. Because we are all here to create change in the world, to be positive people in the world. to make the world a better place. And it's up to us to believe that within ourselves and to move forward in that. I also want you to be mindful of how you operate and think about yourself in the world, because your energy is powerful. You know, even as I'm up here and I can just feel the resonance with you all, it makes me want to cry, because I feel that we all have something positive to share. And as you're watching me and talking, I'm taking it from you. So just know, as you interact with people, you do leave something with them. Think about, what do you want to leave from a person who you meet with just on the street as you're driving by or whatever else? You leave something with them. It doesn't matter whatever the societal issue is. Just know whatever you have as an interest that is your passion, you can change it. And the next thing, of course, is step up and lead, because if not you, then who? Thank you so much.